So you mentioned in there about how you wanted to give back to people and how you realized that you enjoy helping people. Why is it that that's important to you?
To answer the question super honestly is I don't feel like I have very much self-worth unless I'm helping somebody. A lot of my identity is wrapped up in being there for other people. I think that stems from maybe not 100% knowing outside of that who I am, because of so much of my identity is about leading or supporting or creating. Um, and like I said earlier, in terms of I spent so much of my 20s doing my work as my identity, I almost fallen into that black hole of space of going, well, what else is there to me? It comes from a place of like deficit, which is it's an interesting thing to occupy, because we're always taught to be like, don't be a people pleaser, don't say yes to everything, and you can't do it. You can't do that. If you're empty, what have you got to give? And so much of that is true. That's absolutely true. But when it's who you are is the blueprint of who you are, it's like, well, I can't just stop doing that to replenish, because part of the replenishment comes from that. It's really hard, and I know I very much dodged speaking to people about that for a long time, and I've sort of always just been like, oh well, I can use my art to deal with those things.
I appreciate your honesty.
Yeah, we can go there.
Is it something you talk about it and you say that you can acknowledge it? Like a lot of people who are in that space and they wouldn't even be able to acknowledge it. So you can see it. Is it something that you're trying to change in yourself?
Trying, definitely, which only seems to be a quite recent thing. Last sort of 18 months I've navigated quite a lot of different things, lots of change. And I think I've had a couple of years where I've really, really hit burnout mode. There was a few years ago, where I sort of counted the amount of work I'd made. And I think it was in the course of like one academic year, I'd made nearly 30 works,
Wow.
half of which were all over 15, 20, 25 minutes long, which is a huge amount of output. And trying to do that, run your company, support other people, have some form of a life, a relationship, navigate the complexities of just being a person, and just that level of creative output I don't think it's normal. And I don't particularly think it's healthy, because you're trying then to make every single work look and feel different, trying to have 25, 30 new and original ideas. And I haven't really stepped down from that gear of creating. I've kind of actually just put the foot down and tried to sustain it. And I think that especially in the last sort of 10 months, 12 months, with a couple of injuries and change, I've really realized that I'm like, actually, I'm not sustainable if I keep doing this. So I am actively trying to change, but also I'm also at the point where I'm questioning how much capacity do I have to change. Because if I really wanted to change, I would I'd take myself more seriously. But being the person I am, it's like, I could just make a joke about it, bury it, and crack on. So I think there's a sustainability that I can manage, but there's also a sustainability that I shouldn't be managing. And trying to do those two things it's tricky.
Yeah, for sure. It's something I've been thinking about quite a lot, actually, in terms of identity and how we identify ourselves. So I think a lot of the times we make what we do into our personal identity, whether that's work or political beliefs or anything like that. And I think the importance is to identify yourself as something, but not to make it your personal identity. So if I look at myself, I'm Sam. I work as a firefighter. I host a podcast. I run. I go to the gym. These are all things that I can identify with. I can identify myself as a firefighter. But if I make that my personal identity and I am Sam and I am a firefighter, that is me and that's all I talk about, or whichever one of those things I want to sort of identify as. If I lose that thing out of my own choice or out of a choice out of my hands, it will like cripple me because and again, to go back to another conversation I had on this podcast, I learned this from Lee Eldridge and he spoke about pillars. So if you picture your life being held up by a number of pillars, it might be your family life, your work life, your hobbies, etc. And all these pillars, as you put more time into one, that pillar gets wider and the other pillars will get narrower because of it, because you've only got a finite amount of time. And if you lose that wide pillar and you look at what's actually holding you up over here, it's loads of really skinny ones. So it's like a visualization on the reminder that balancing what we do in our lives as well is such an important thing.
Let me know if you ever get that right, how you done it.
Yeah. And that's the thing,
yeah.
I don't think there is a way to get it right.
No, I don't
time.
think there is. Like, I mean, I've spent my entire career just being the biggest hypocrite because everything that I do, I tell everyone else not to do. I say to my students, don't be like me. I'm not the role model for that. There are plenty of people that show that better. It's definitely, I'm definitely at the point where I know who I am, but if it's just one thing, what am I? It's an interesting sort of mental bit of gymnastics to play with. Yeah.